We've got some pretty solid recommendations for how you implement SNMP v3. Restrict access to read-only, as in don't let people do anything other than gather information about our switches. It's interesting to think that way, but a lot of times NMSs these days are not there to affect change. They're to trigger warnings and allow high-level overviews of the network. And read-only access is all you need. Think about the principle of least privilege. That also applies to who gets access to what information. And the privileges are signed by what are called views. A view. Think about role-based access control, if you've ever implemented that. That also has permissions that are set up via views. Then constrain what devices can communicate with an access list. That's very effective. And yes, you can spoof IP addresses, but having bidirectional communication with spoofed IP addresses is not the norm. And then use the secure options that are available. Now, when we talk about these, I want you to understand that there are some settings. There's no auth, no priv. There's auth, no priv. And then there's auth, priv. Now, auth is about data authenticity. So we're talking about things like MD5 or SHA to validate each of the packets. That's really important so that you're not able to communicate via SNMP unless you have that. So I would really want you at a minimum to choose a scheme for your group, your view, that affects at least auth. But they decouple that, so you don't necessarily have to do all of these things simultaneously. But the culmination is what is called auth priv. And some people say priv for privacy. That's fine too. When you think about privacy, I want you to think encryption. So we're talking about things like DES, that are triple DES, that are going to allow us to encrypt our data. And so I'll write that in here. And I would want you to know the interpretation of this. So priv equals encryption services. And you're going to see these as options in the configuration syntax inside of the Catalyst operating system as well as the Cisco iOS.